Geez, you okay?
I'm fine.
You do know that you're standing on the wrong side of the railing,
I do.
and that our condos are 3 stories up,
Well aware.
and that I can't possibly breach the gap between us.
I know.
Okay, may I ask why?
I've come to the conclusion that the Earth, nature, and stars, all of it is absurd. But I won't jump.
Glad to hear.
If,
If what?
if you give me a convincing reason not to.
I was just sweeping my balcony.
If everything is absurd, then sweeping is absurd. 10 seconds.
Um, uh, do you believe in God?
God gives us nuts, but he doesn't crack them.
Okay, family?
Association with humans lures one into self-observation.
That certainly happens with my family.
Just answer the question. 5 seconds.
I forgot the question.
What is the meaning of life?
Uh, Before I answer, can I ask a question?
Sure,
Why me?
because you came out to sweep.
And if I hadn't?
I wouldn't be here right now. I'd be down there. But then I thought you might be an omen.
Me? An omen?
Some higher power could be trying to have a Zoom conference with me through you.
What about me made you think someone might be using me for Zoom purposes?
I'm a good judge of people. Simply by looking, I can tell you're a lawyer who defends the poor.
No,
You manage a rigidly inflexible insurance company.
no.
An airline co-pilot who doesn't play by the rules.
I'm a writer.
I knew that.
No, you didn't.
What do you write? Horror books? Are you Stephen King?
What? No, I'm not Stephen King.
Wouldn't have that been something? That would have been an omen.
You a Stephen King fan?
No,
Ever read one of his books?
no.
Then why would meeting Stephen King be,
Think about it. Seconds before my demise, by chance, out of 8 billion people on this earth, I run into the writer who single-handedly revived the genre of horror fiction in the late 20th century.
You're right. That could be an omen.
But, unfortunately, you, like most, are too consumed by the stubborn facts of daily life. I will trouble you no longer.
Wait, I lied. I am Stephen King.
Really?
I single-handedly revived the genre of horror fiction in the late 20th century.
May I have your autograph?
Sure. I don't have a pen.
I do. Would you sign one of your books?
Generally, I don't have my books on me when I'm sleeping.
You must have one in your condo.
I don't.
Why not?
Once I write them, I don't like to keep them around because I don't want my fame to go to my head.
Time's up.
Hold on. How about if I sign this broom?
Would you?
What do you know? I just happen to have a pen on me. Whom shall I?
Franz.
Franz? You mean as in Franz Kafka?
Yes.
The guy who wrote Metamorphosis? That story about a guy who wakes up one morning to discover he's been transformed into a giant cockroach?
This is a bad translation. Should have read Monstrous Vermin.
Okay,
Franz.
that's okay. Know how to spell. Weird. Really, really weird. Here you go, Mr. Kafka.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
One more thing. Could I have taxi money?
Sure. What are you going to do? Take a taxi to your therapist's office?
I'm going to the library and check out one of your books. Which do you recommend?
Uh, um, Silence of the Lambs, I think.
Have you ever noticed that in almost every novel, biography, or autobiography, the protagonist is searching?
I guess.
They're trying to find that nebulous, transcendental it,
It?
the meaning of life. But in the end, what does the protagonist find?
Don't know.
Simple, formulaic answers. No matter how good the writer, the most the protagonist achieves is a formulaic answer and resignation.
What the?
Sweetheart, where are you?
Out here.
Father's done. Want a binge?
I just had a Kafkaesque experience.
Look at all the wonderful fall leaves.
This well-dressed stranger came out on the balcony of the unoccupied condo next door and told me that everything was absurd.
Yellow, red. I think autumn is my favorite time of year.
And then he talked about the nebulous, transcendental it.
Sweetheart, where's your broom?
I gave it to Franz.
Who?
Franz, the person on the next balcony who said he was going to kill himself.
With the broom?
But I talked him out of it.
How?
I autographed the broom.
Was he suffering from mental illness?
No, I told him I was Stephen King.
Are you suffering from mental illness?
I was sweeping when my mind began wandering and I thought, why am I here? Am I just spending my time consumed by the stubborn facts of daily life rather than asking the big question? When perfectly timed, I turned and there was a stranger standing on the next balcony.
The condo next door is unoccupied.
I know, but I swear Franz Kafka was there.
Wait, Kafka, the writer?
Yes.
He wrote that absurd story about that guy who turns into a cockroach.
Bad translation, it should have read monstrous vermin.
Okay, but didn't he die like 100 years ago?
Yeah, but I swear, Kafka was just standing right over there.
And just before this happened, you were thinking about the meaning of life.
Yes.
Like, what, your purpose?
I guess purpose can bring meaning.
You mean your purpose right now, or overall?
Well, both.
Well, that's easy. Your purpose right now is to come inside and binge Ballers. Overall, your purpose is to go down to the hardware store and buy a new
Look
broom.
at my life. It is, in fact, absurd. I spend every Sunday sitting here, binge-watching crap and staring down at a park.
It's a wonderful park!
Don't you see? All of this is trivial. In 100 years, this building probably won't even be here, and the park will most likely be replaced by some sort of synthetic wireless park, and no one will ever know or care that I exist.
Look at the bright side, sweetheart. The park might be replaced with lifeless, radiation-filled dirt.
You don't have to go that far.
Okay, synthetic, waterless. Your point?
Why am I here? Why are any of us here? Why shouldn't we all jump?
Well, everyone can't.
Why not?
Not everyone lives in a high-rise condo.
Or walk down to the nearest bus stop and throw ourselves in front of the next crosstown express.
Everyone?
Yes, everyone.
Who would drive the bus?
Have you ever thought, maybe William Faulkner was right? It's all just folly and despair and victory, only an illusion of philosophers.
Was William Faulkner also here?
I'm having an existential crisis.
Okay, do you know why I was attracted to you?
Why?
Because you were voted the person least likely to read Franz Kafka or William Faulkner.
I've got to go to the library.
Why?
To find friends and ask them about the meaning of life.
But what about Ballers?
I don't know. I gotta think. Crap, it's Franz.
And she left and never came back.
This yours?
And then, this morning, I thought to myself, it's going to be a good day.
If not, gotta toss it in lost and found.
I'm gonna go shop in the mall, then I've gotta pick up my Zoloft and buy a broom.
A what?
A broom. And then, suddenly, in the middle of the underwear aisle at Nordstrom's, it hit me. Why is it a good day?
Wouldn't know.
Is it a good day simply because I'm going to be busy? Is that all life's about? Buying stuff and binge-watching Ballers so we don't have to come face to face with our utter insignificance?
As much as I'd like to continue, what's your Apple ID?
Why?
You walked into an Apple Genius bar.
You asked if I needed help.
I meant with an Apple product. We're not here to address major existential questions.
Then why do you call yourself geniuses?
It's just a catchy name. And while I'm at it, this is not an actual bar. We don't serve rum and coke.
It's a simple question. Is life absurd? Does it have meaning? And if so, what is that meaning?
That's 3 questions.
Is it to help others? Is it to sit in really uncomfortable positions under centuries?
What brings my life meaning is to have a purpose.
And what's your purpose? To sell overpriced iPads to millennials? That justifies your existence?
No, my purpose is to earn a living so I can pay my mortgage, so I can spend my weekends in my garage, working on my exact replica of the bridge of the Starship Enterprise.
You're not serious.
That is my purpose.
Okay, but is that a purpose, or is that just something to keep you occupied so you don't have to face the absurdity of life?
You make it sound like it's some sort of plywood replica. Mine is built with an aerospace-grade chromium alloy that's so real, it's like real. I'm living the hero's journey.
You can't be serious.
Every weekend, I accept a call to duty, confront the unknown, and then warp drive it back to Federation star space.
But you're going to get old and die, and you'll never have been outside of your garage.
I'm going to make sweet love to the shape-shifting Princess Troyes this weekend in a mirror universe. And I might add, live to tell about it. What are you doing? Buying a broom.
My God.
You okay?
You're right.
Didn't mean to upset you.
You know what I need?
A Zoloft?
No, I need to do what all Americans do when they realize that they're living an anonymous, mundane, absurd life.
Buy an Apple Watch?
No, go on a cruise.
There are petri dishes with propellers.
No. There are pools and gyms and casinos and spending your afternoons launching golf balls in the deep blue while bubbly waiters treat you special because you're stuck in a service economy and the beautiful ocean which is filled with plastic golf balls. And it's all there to make you forget how meaningless your life is. And
Yo, people are looking.
people are looking, and out of nowhere, my partner tells me that the world is absurd and goes off to find Franz Kafka, and I'm asking a complete stranger about the meaning of life. And I just bought underwear. Do you know what I have plenty of?
Underwear?
Drawers full. I have enough to last the rest of my life. So why am I buying underwear at the shopping mall? Do you know why shopping malls exist?
Why?
The same reason cruise lines exist, to keep us occupied so we don't have to hear the relentless ticking of all the clocks.
Oh, look. I don't normally do this, but why don't you come over to my house this weekend?
What?
I'm looking for a navigation officer.
I'm sorry, but I can't just drive to some stranger's garage.
Don't have to. I can beam you up.
I'm sorry, I guess I had a bit of a panic attack.
Don't worry. It happens all the time here when people see our prices. You okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Look, I don't know much, but I do know you can't find the meaning of life if you're constantly distracted or in the middle of a panic attack.
But that's modern life.
Only ask the question when you have a firm grasp on your sense of humor. And while you're at it, throw in a little common sense. Common sense and a sense of humor are the same thing, just moving at different speeds. A sense of humor is common sense. Dancing. Only ask the meaning of life after you've danced a little. Will you join me in this existential dance?
People are looking.
No. They're distracting themselves by buying things they don't need, so they don't have to come face to face. Utter insignificance of shopping malls. Now you're ready to ask the meaning of life. I believe this is your underwear. And then she left.
To return the underwear?
Don't know. Does it matter to the story? Then, before I knew it, it was the weekend and Princess Troyes,
Who?
the heir to the throne of the pre-crustacean empire,
Right.
was obviously interested in using all her shape-shifting powers to seduce me. But I couldn't do it.
Do what?
Exchange her plasmic mucus.
Good for you?
Then I saw the light.
Ah, yes, the light.
This little ray of light, it was coming from behind the tractor beam control panel, so I got up, released the titanium latches, and pulled back the panel. And behind, I saw it.
It?
The garage door.
And this was a revelation?
Yes, there on the door in the dust, I saw...
An image of Christ.
No,
Mary?
a little window.
With an image of Christ on it.
No, it was just a little window. And I've lived there for years, and I've never noticed that my garage door has a little star-shaped window, a little peephole right in the center. Isn't that amazing?
Not as amazing as the miracle of Guadalajara in 1911, but okay.
And I looked out through this little peephole and I saw children playing and birds flying
Yes, God's wonderful embellishments.
and cars honking and dogs barking. And I just drank it in for a moment. And then,
You faced reality.
no, then it hit me. T.S. Eliot was right. Humankind cannot bear very much reality. So I got some spray paint from the workbench and painted over the little window. And I put the cover back on the tractor beam and made sweet love to the princess like I was Captain Kirk and she was Lieutenant Uhura. I mean, they were out in space for years. There must have been a lot of star dates going on behind those automatic sliding doors.
I'm more than confused. Why did you want to meet with me?
'Cause as I was painting over the window, it occurred to me we got a lot in common.
Do we now?
We've both found a pleasing, unreal reality.
I would hardly call what I do unreal.
What would you call it then?
Real.
Really? You're wearing a red robe and silly hat in public. And what's the staff about?
It's called a crozier. It's the rod of God.
The rod of God.
Yes, you are the flock, and I am the rod. I'm the metaphor. I mean the shepherd.
And I am Captain Reno, who replaced Captain Archer, who replaced Captain Janeway, who replaced Captain Cisco, who replaced Picard, who replaced James T. Kirk. But the captains on the anime version, I don't count.
I don't see how you could possibly compare what we do.
Transubstantiation, teleporting. We may vary the metaphor, but we both find meaning. Think about it. We both have religious texts. You, the Bible, me, the Federation Star Space Standards and Practices Manual.
Mine was written by God.
And mine by Gene Roddenberry. Peace be upon him.
There is a difference.
It's like Nietzsche said in Thus Spake Zarathustra. God is dead, long live Star Trek.
Do you hear those people cheering?
So?
They've come to see me.
Why? Pulling off a miracle or something?
No, I'm participating in our first annual Leap of Faith. In a moment, I'm going to climb atop that spire.
Geez, way up there?
I'm told 300 feet up, where I shall have bungee cables attached to my ankles. And as I stand on the edge, lean into space and plummet, I shall know that I, unlike you, am living in reality.
Father, a bit of advice. I've traveled the universe from Delta Quadrant to the Max door on 59th. And the only thing I know for sure is real life kinda sucks. That's why we need a bit of virtual reality to face the bleak matter-of-factness of life. Hey, let's face it, the universe treats us pretty poorly.
Does not.
Then why are there viruses?
Well,
We all need to escape the endless, bewildering complexity of raw phenomena. We need some semblance of order, some understandable patterns, and something pleasing and predictable, like ice cream.
ice cream?
Yeah, banana peanut butter chocolate chip isn't a naturally occurring phenomenon, so we add it to life. Ice cream is an ornament that makes life better, like
Art
in philosophy
and religion.
and Star Trek. They all help us
Escape?
to an understandable world.
And so the human mind needs these metaphors and symbols that don't occur in nature.
Like, what did you say that thing is called?
A crozier.
For only when we create symbols can we move to significance.
And from significance to the meaning of life.
Bless you, Father.
Live long and prosper.
Oh, speaking of reality, did you know there was a recent recall on bungee cables?
And he left.
And married the princess and lived happily ever after?
Don't know. Is it important to the story?
Guess not. Okay, if you're ready, you have 200 members of the Youth League waiting down there. You don't want to disappoint.
Question.
Sure.
I've heard there's a recall on bungee cables.
Not this year. That I know of.
But there have been recalls in the past.
Now and then, but that's life. Your feet.
Huh?
Gotta strap these to your ankles.
Oh, right.
Red shoes. Really cool.
Do people ever have second thoughts?
All the time. But once they figure out there's no refund, they generally go through with it.
And if by chance something should go wrong?
Don't worry. That piece of paper you signed releases us from any liability. The other leg.
Excuse me?
I need to bind your other ankle.
Oh.
Of all the people I've done this with, I think you'd be least nervous.
How many people have you done?
I don't know. 5, 6?
You've only done this with 5 or 6 people?
Don't worry. I'm certified.
By whom?
Mama's big jump school of Baton Rouge.
So you've taken lots of hands-on classes.
Oh no, I was certified during the pandemic. My classes were all online. But don't worry, online classes are just as good as the real ones. Taking that cane with you?
What?
That thingamabob.
It's not a cane, it's a crozier. It's the rod of God.
If I were you, I'd leave the God's rod behind.
Kind of attached to it. You know, security blanket.
On your way down, you're going about 50 miles per hour. So when you snap back, you might drop it. Could become a projectile.
Hadn't considered that.
If a member of the youth league was impaled by the rod of God, dropped by a bungee jumping cardinal, that would definitely make some doubt.
And it could make next Sunday's mass awkward.
Deep breaths, relax. Here we go.
Wait, can I ask a question?
Sure, but make it snappy. You don't want the youth league thinking for themselves.
What?
Yeah.
What is faith?
You? Are you asking me?
Yes.
Well, to me, it seems like everything is a jump of faith.
Leap.
Leap.
Everything?
Let's say you're an atheist.
I'm not, if you haven't noticed.
But just say you were.
But I'm not.
Doesn't it take a leap of faith to be an atheist?
I guess.
Let's say you want to become a doctor. Doesn't that take a leap of faith? Or a mother? Or anything? I'm guessing. You're guessing. You know what the Pope's doing when he's talking to thousands on St. Peter's Square?
Guessing?
That's life. You can't find your way unless you strap in and jump.
Leap.
Leap.
But wouldn't the world be far less absurd if we could find a rational way to God?
No doubt. But in reality, you can't add or subtract your way to God or know God. You just gotta
Leap.
or you'll spend your days in incurable uncertainty and perpetual hesitation. The meaning of life is to take action. Without risk, say it, without risk.
Life has no meaning.
Going down! 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, jump!
Leap!
Whatever.
Holy shit!
I've got a feeling I'm falling, falling for nobody else but you.
And did he make it?
Is it important to the story?
I suppose not.
You know the first time I went bungee jumping? It was amazing. The 100th, on the way down, I was actually thinking about my unpaid bills. Then one day, I thought to myself, is that all there is to bungee jumping? So I upped the stakes.
A higher platform?
Cocaine.
And how did that go?
After a while, I thought, is that all there is to cocaine?
And so you moved on to,
A BMW X3.
let me guess, pretty soon you were asking, is that all there is to X3s?
Wow, You're good at this.
I'm a therapist. It's my job to be good at this.
So I went for the ultimate high.
God?
No, a BMW X7 and fame. That longing gaze you get from people who drive Hondas. That feeling that we matter.
But isn't fame fleeting?
Is it?
I had a couple who came to see me once who said their love life was boring, their jobs mind numbing, and their weekends absurdly meaningless. I tried to help, but after nearly a year of therapy, I'd made little progress. Then one day, they told me they had discovered the meaning of life.
Really?
A follower.
Don't understand.
They hired someone to follow them.
Like a stalker?
No, a professional follower.
Someone to just follow them around.
And compliment them. After she dressed in the morning, she'd step into the living room where the follower would be waiting and say something nice about her outfit. At breakfast, the follower complimented him on his cereal selection. At work, the follower constantly told them they were doing a great job.
But they still had the same mind-numbing employment.
It worked so well that they decided to hire 10 followers.
They had 10 people following them all day long.
In order to bring meaning to their drive at work, they'd have their followers act like paparazzi and drive it beside them and take their pictures.
That's weird.
Then they hired 50, then 100.
But so what? If it brings a meaning to their lives.
Then one day I was at Yankee Stadium when the Jumbotron lit up. It was them
What were they doing?
having sex.
You're kidding.
They decided the only way they could bring meaning into their boring love life was to hack into the Jumbotron and do it in front of 50,000 people.
What happened?
The Yankees won.
Could you help them?
I called them in for a session, but my office was so jam-packed with standing room only paparazzi, I couldn't get anything done.
But why did they do it?
I asked them. They said no one exists unless they're observed.
So they had to get someone else's permission to live a meaningful life.
Okay, hypothetical. 2 people. One gives $5 to a homeless person knowing that God is watching. The other gives $5 not knowing, perhaps not caring, or not believing that there is a God. Aren't both acts equally meaningful?
Maybe the second one more so because there's no audience.
As the Roman playwright Seneca said, shape your life according to people's opinions, and you'll discover that Yankee fans can be highly judgmental.
What happened to them?
Who?
The couple who thought the gaze of others meant something.
One day, the paparazzis failed to social distance, they caught the virus, and a week later, they were gone.
What were their names?
Oh, their last name was Facebook.
You missed her.
Who?
Martha Stewart.
The cooking show personality?
I was making lunch and there was this knock at the door, and then I opened it and there stood, for real, Martha Stewart.
Why would Martha Stewart come to our house?
She was passing by in her limousine and needed to use the bathroom.
The bathroom?
You can understand she's not the type to use a service station.
So she just knocked on a random door?
Apparently that's what she does. And then we got to talking and I made her lunch.
You're kidding.
She even left us a gift, a signed copy of her latest book. Let me go get it.
Wow, Martha Stewart.
Oh my God.
Is everything okay?
Martha Stewart, she left us a gift.
So you said.
No. This is a different gift. It's in the guest bathroom. She how do I say this? She forgot to
Flush? Oh, for God's sake, let a man take care of this.
flush, but please don't look.
Oh my God.
I said don't look. Oh my God, oh my God.
Okay, what's wrong?
I'm having a flashback.
Oh, come on.
PTSD.
Oh, come on. You've seen this before. Maybe not that much in one location, but you've seen it.
No. That was the first time I've looked in over a decade.
You don't look before you flush?
Why would I?
Oh, because there's a lot of information there.
Oh my God, you look?
Okay, it's not like I pull up a chair and study it.
Oh my, I can't handle this. I married a man who looks
How do you do it?
like a normal person. I flush while going. I don't think I can ever sleep with you again
Why not?
because they're located right next to each other.
So?
It's a design flaw. It's the one thing I've never been able to deal with. That's why I don't believe in God.
Wait, what does God have to do with this?
If God were a perfect being, he, she, or they would not have designed the reproductive system and waste removal system right next to each other. And they look different.
How would they look?
Well, yours wouldn't be so ridiculous.
What?
You gotta admit, yours does look like a first draft. Like, it was designed by an infant deity who made it and then got frustrated and just gave up. An intelligent designer would have made it look more
More what?
Art Deco.
Art Deco?
And some feathers would be a nice touch, form over function.
If you don't mind, I'd like to keep a little functionality.
What I mean is art for art's sake.
I'm compelled to ask, where would an intelligent designer put the waste removal system?
In some out of the way place, like in the armpit.
We'd poop from our armpits?
And it would come out differently.
How would it come out?
Deer pellets.
What?
A perfect God will make them look like cute little deer pellets. Simple, non-assuming.
Let me get this straight. You'd believe in God if we crapped deer pellets from our armpits.
Look how perfect bathrooms would be. No need for toilets, no forgetting to flush.
How would we do it? Litter baskets?
No. There'd be a little tube and suction system, and it would be hidden behind like a secret panel.
And where would these secret panels be located?
All over, like in your car or in voting booths.
Voting booths?
In other words, convenient and private locations.
You've obviously given this a great deal of thought.
Look, I was 5. My mother took me to the petting zoo, and this little fawn walks up to me, and I thought, how beautiful, how perfect and meaningful this creation is. And then it pooped, and I thought, why? Why would God make deer poop so pretty, so perfect, so edible?
Oh my God, you didn't.
And then I thought, why did God make ours look so nasty? And then I thought, is there an afterlife? Or is it just a dark, endless void? Do we dump memory? Or are we just flushed and forgotten?
And you thought all of this when you were 5 years old while eating deer pellets?
At that moment, I promised never to look at mine ever again.
Wait. Is this why you don't want a dog? or a cat? Or children?
At 5 years old, it hit me. I could do better.
Better than whom?
God, I could design a better creation.
Could you now?
Yeah, this creation is pretty awful.
And what would you change? People would poke deer pellets from their armpits
Well, I'd leave out viruses,
and
cancer,
and
death. Come on, admit it. You too could design a better creation.
could not. This creation it's perfect. I wouldn't change a thing.
Really? You'd create parasitic bits of RNA or DNA surrounded by a coat of protein that causes everything from cold sores to Ebola.
Well,
And you'd allow spina bifida and hypoplastic left heart syndrome. And of course, you'd have no problem with asteroids or ice ages or extinctions every few million years.
I mean, they must have a purpose.
What, to make us miserable?
Okay, so then why are they here?
Good question. Why?
Well, because God couldn't make the best of all possible creations. That's heaven.
So what did God do? Give us 57th best possible creation. Is this the 108th best possible creation? This world isn't even close to the best of all possible worlds, or we wouldn't need science or therapy or ventilators.
Okay, but is it God that causes these problems or us? We build large cities on fault lines, we stack people on top of each other, and then there's an earthquake or a virus hits, and there's so much more damage and so many more deaths. Like, if you built your home underwater, would you blame God when you drowned?
No, I'd build a waterproof house.
Then why isn't most of the world doing that?
Because too many of us are still living under the illusion that the creation was designed for us.
I still say the creation is perfect.
Then why the hell are you wearing glasses?
Okay, perhaps I'd change a few things.
Like,
Uh,
give me one thing you'd change.
banjos. I'd leave banjos out of the creation. No one likes banjos. You'll put up with one song, maybe two, but after that, it gets old fast.
You're right, the creation would be better without banjos.
So what do we do?
We stop believing that we were born into a world that was made for us and admit, at least from our point of view, it's a less than perfect design, and start creating a world that's right for us.
Yeah, that would bring meaning to life.
And to think we owe this revelation to Martha Stewart. I'm gonna go clean the kitchen.
Can't.
Why not?
I'm dyslexic. Code 434. It's a learning disability.
I'm a high school counselor. I'm well aware of what dyslexia is.
And don't expect me to pay attention during this meeting.
Why not?
I'm ADHD. Code 1414.
Okay. Concerning your math class,
Can't. I have dyscalculia.
which is
A fear of math. Code 3.14159.
no, you're also flunking English.
Can't.
Why not?
I have E.L. James disorder.
Which is
The total inability to write. Code 69.
I don't want to be critical, but
Can't. I have critophobia. A deep fear of assessment. Code 5414.
can we at least talk about what happened during gym class?
Can't. I have antisocial personality disorder, code 8731, and anxiety attacks brought on by round objects like volleyballs, code 000.
What are these codes?
You're from the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. My psychiatrist uses them for billing purposes.
Okay. Maybe I could speak with your parents.
Can't. Mom's got rumination disorder.
Let me guess. The tendency to focus on one's own distress as opposed to solutions?
Code 911.
Your father?
Stockholm Syndrome, brought on by obsessive compulsive disorder, brought on by premature ejaculation. Codes 767, 798, and 54321.
How can you find the meaning of life if you spend your days evading responsibility?
Can't take responsibility. Kardashian disorder.
Let's try this a different way. What do you want to be when you grow up?
Oh, that's easy. I want to be an existentialist philosopher like Sartre or Simone de Beauvoir.
Excuse me?
I'm taking this philosophy class that I'm flunking because I suffer from depression brought on by Schopenhauer syndrome. When I'm not on my meds, I think I'd like to be an existential philosopher.
How do you intend to get there?
I don't know. That's your responsibility.
Okay, do you even know what existentialism is?
It's a philosophy that teaches that there are no alibis, nor gods or devils to blame for a condition. There's no heredity, no race, no gender, no wrong-headed education system, no childhood trauma, and no learning disabilities to blame. We are fully responsible for our nature and our choices. We must take an active role in forging our own destiny because of existence precedes essence. In other words, we come into being without purpose, so we must create our purpose and thus the meaning of our unique life.
Have you ever thought about what you're saying?
Can't. I suffer from Trump syndrome.
I can't believe it's just a burning memory.
Congratulations. This is the best statement of purpose I've ever read.
Worked long and hard.
I think all of our students should read about how you finally realized that the world wasn't going to accommodate you, how you embraced existentialism, took responsibility, and found meaning. Inspirational.
So I'm accepted into the writing program?
The best creative writing MFA in the world.
Wow.
But there is a problem.
Oh?
Your short story.
Didn't like it?
It's perfect.
Perfect?
Yes,
Wow.
too perfect.
What?
It adheres to all the rules of storytelling. It's a flawlessly constructed template which every short story, novel, movie, even sitcom should emulate.
So I am accepted.
You are.
Oh, good.
If.
If?
If you admit it's bullshit.
Excuse me?
What you've written is bullshit. All storytelling is bullshit.
Professor, this has been a dream of mine for years. I want to write great stories that right social wrongs and inspire people to be better people.
You know, novels, movies, and poems are just words, right?
Yeah, but those words add up to life.
No, they're just a bunch of crap that writers make up.
What?
They're not real.
But
Real life is merely a muddle of chaotic, irregular, fragmentary events. Real life has just about as much plot as a robocall list.
you wrote that story about that writer who walks out on his balcony to find Franz Kafka and sets out to find the meaning of life and finds it.
And you believe that crap?
Well, the autumn leaves in every scene was obviously symbolism, and the rest of it was based, at least in part, on reality.
Do you believe in Santa Claus?
No?
Then you shouldn't believe in stories. In real life, there are no satisfying narratives, no neatly packed happy endings, no gift-wrapped love. Do you know the #1 reason for mental illness?
Are we screwed up society?
Writers, screenwriters, novelists, songwriters, they spend their lives confabulating beginnings, middles, and ends.
But life does have a beginning, middle, and end.
But it doesn't add up to a plot. Life is ragged, complicated, sordid, inconsistent, and piled with a shocking number of tangents. But above all, you know what life is?
What?
Inconclusive.
You're kind of rocking my world here. I need stories.
And they make us paranoid.
That too?
What does every story have? A threat, a complication, or a conflict. Read enough and you'll begin to think that that's also true in real life.
But that is true in real life.
No, real life doesn't have that much in the way of conflict. Most of our troubles are borrowed, and the troubles and conflicts that do exist, we can avoid if we give it a little thought, unlike the characters in stories.
But we learn from great characters.
What great characters? Name one.
Oh. King Lear.
What can you learn from King Lear? He was a rotten father and a shitty administrator.
Hamlet.
Would you hire Hamlet as a crime scene investigator?
We're supposed to learn from their errors. Great writers can teach us.
Writers are horrible people. If they were good people, they wouldn't be writers.
Some are good.
Name one.
I like Simone de Beauvoir.
She seduced innocent girls and passed them off to Sartre, who broke their hearts and dumped them.
Sylvia Plath.
Mood swings, impulse control issues, couldn't operate ovens.
Franz Kafka.
A paranoid nutcase with delusions of persecution.
Confucius.
Wasn't nice to his wife and children.
Buddha.
Abandoned his wife and children.
I still think writers and stories are important.
Okay. After going to the theater, you go home and your wife disappoints you because she's not as attractive as the actress up on stage. You read a novel and you realize that your husband isn't as exciting as the muscular hero dashing through the pages. Go to a movie, fade out, the end. You walk out into the light of day and you realize that the reality of your life doesn't measure up to Tom Cruise's. Then we become depressed because we don't know all the stories and that are written for children.
All?
All.
War and Peace.
Children's story.
Emma.
Children's story.
The Bible?
Young adult fiction.
Obviously, this MFA program is not for me.
You know I'm right.
Do not.
Do you know when you and I and everyone made this discovery?
Everyone?
When we were forced to shelter in place. From our solitary confinement, our time out, we saw that the distractions that make up our lives were just that, distractions. And the illusion of story, getting up, going to work, coming home, socializing, obligations, hierarchies, departmental feuds, bullshit-filled breakout sessions were all taken away. What was left? Ourself, sitting in front of our computers, not wearing pants. Suddenly, we came face to face with the plotless reality that is life.
So I should stop reading? Stop going to movies?
No, of course not. Enjoy a good book, see movies, laugh, cry. But if you're looking for some overarching structure to untangle the ragged, complicated, paradoxical, joyful inconsistency that is life, you'll be disappointed. You can only find meaning when you admit that you will not defeat your enemies in this lifetime. Virtue will not always reward, and the shining prince seldom arrives in the nick of time. And no curtain will rain down on a wonderful confession from your absent father who suddenly shows up and tells you he loves you.
Writers must suffer a lot of things listed in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders.
Why do you think we drink so much? Because we know that real life will never live up to the brilliant bullshit we peddle. And this counts for painters, poets, and playwrights too. Do you know the only art that even comes close to reality?
Which?
Collage making.
What?
You know, those artists who glue a bunch of crap together. That's reality. We're only bit players in a massive Darwinian amphitheater, which doesn't have a heroic significance or a noble end.
So what do we do?
Well, the most we can do is have a purpose every day. If possible, a purpose every hour, but no overall plan. For you to have no overall plan, you'll never be disappointed. The meaning of life differs from human to human, from day to day, and from hour to hour. But Don't expect these purpose filled days and hours to add up to a chain of events. And above all, don't try to deconstruct life. Just as with a play or a novel, unpacking it, as English professors like to say, only kills it. No play, novel, or life survives deconstruction. If you can do that, you will own the tragic optimism that allows you to find the perception of meaning, not an overall meaning, but a meaning just for a given moment.
So I'm accepted into your MFA in brilliant bullshit.
The best bullshit MFA in the world. Now, let's get drunk, break innocent hearts, ruin our marriages, abandon our partners and children, and make up a bunch of beautiful, inspiring, well plotted bullshit that has nothing to do with real life.
I'll go get us a 6-pack.
That was a great meal.
Perfect.
What shall we do now?
How about if we pick up a New York Times and go to my place and binge watch Baldur's?
That is a wonderful idea. Wait, do you realize what just happened?
No.
Just now, right here in this little Italian sidewalk cafe, we became a couple.
You're right.
A minute ago, we were just two strangers on their fourth date, but now we're like
official.
I've always said that life is a muddle of chaotic, irregular, fragmentary events, but maybe I was wrong. I mean, for the first time in my life, I got it right. We followed a story. On our first Match.com meet and greet,
We played it cool.
on our second,
We both swiped right.
on our third date,
We screwed like bunnies on crack.
just like you're supposed to.
And then,
When you said, let's pick up the New York Times,
and binge ballers.
it seemed so
Meant to be.
as if there was, in fact, an order and a structure to the universe. And if it works out,
Which I'm sure it will.
tomorrow we'll announce it on Facebook and Instagram
That we're a couple.
and move in together
And start eating off each other's plates.
and start,
Finishing each other's sentences.
and we'll have long conversations.
About breaking up.
And wait, what?
Huh?
What did you just say?
I was following your train of thought.
No, you just said something different.
Well, and so we're a couple.
You started eating off each other's plates, but you said something else.
Oh, we'll break up.
What?
Oh, sweetheart, if we're going to be honest with each other, we have to admit that at some point we will come to an end.
Yeah, but
Look, we'll either break up or go through a messy divorce. If not, one of us will drop dead or shoot the other.
okay, this is kind of a romantic moment.
It sure is.
And if it's all right, I'd rather not talk about
Death?
or divorce or
Dismemberment?
oh my god, why did you say that?
Look, you mentioned death and divorce. The next logical step would be dismemberment. They all start with D's.
Okay, I'm trying to say that I love you.
And I love you. So let's set a date.
To get married?
No, to end it.
Why?
This is the most wonderful moment of my life. I finally found a great lover who's also a Cowboys fan, but who, unlike most Cowboys fans, knows how to put the toilet seat down. So, let's set an expiration date. How about 1 year from today?
You give us only 12 months? Your expectations are that low?
The key to happiness and the meaning of life is to set really low expectations. That's what I did when I met you.
Excuse me?
I've had numerous relationships that I thought would last. I dated this crazy writer who ran off to find Franz Kafka, and then I dated an insane Trekkie who'd only love me if I dressed up as Princess Troyes.
Who?
The heir to the throne of the pre-crustacean empire. Both ended in disappointment. But with you, I set my expectations nice and low, and was pleasantly surprised.
How low did you set them?
Did it ever occur to you how unnecessary we are in the grand scheme of things?
Don't change the subject. How low did you set them?
We're thrown into existence without our permission. We live on an insignificant planet full of earthquakes and viruses. Obviously, we're not welcome. In such a situation, high expectations only lead to depression and defeatism and...
Don't say dismemberment.
Don't you see? If we set low expectations and an endpoint, every day will be special. Every moment magnificent because we know it's not going to last.
Okay, well, I want to introduce you to my mother. How do I do that? And I say, hi, Mom, here's the person I love. And oh, by the way, it's gonna end badly?
No, you say, this is the person I love, and we're not going to pretend it's gonna last forever because, Mom, the person I love is terminally ill.
What? Are you?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
I mean, really? Oh my God.
Yes, in the sense that we're all terminal.
I think I'm having chest pains.
Sweetheart, are you ready for the best year you've ever had? I mean the very, very, very best. That's 3 varies. That's a lot of varies.
But I need more.
Okay, we'll pretend we'll last forever. Go to my place, skim the New York Times, and mindlessly binge watch a show that we'll forget 2 days later. Or we could go to my place and really read the New York Times, really enjoy Ballers, and make the evening a mind-blowing, awesome experience that will last.
Forever?
Until we die in dumb memory.
Just stop it.
Look, I have the coronavirus.
What?
Yes, corona.
Isn't that like highly contagious?
That's how we should live our lives, as if we have a deadly, contagious disease and could drop at any moment.
Oh my God.
Consider the lilies of the field.
Screw the lilies. I'm not in love with the lily. I'm in love with you, and I want it to last.
Say it. I'm terminal. Say it.
You
can do it.
I'm terminal.
Say it like you mean it.
I'm terminal.
With conviction.
I'm going to die. See that mosquito? It's going to die. An ant. It's going to die. What do you know? Sooner than it thought.
And in 1.1 billion years, the sun will consume all of its hydrogen fuel and become so hot it will boil the oceans and life will disappear.
Oh my God, you're right. It all ends in death and divorce and dismemberment.
Isn't it a wonderful life? Come on, let's have a great evening before we disappear into nothingness.
But...
Oh, I almost forgot. I do gotta stop at the drugstore to pick up my medication.
Your medication?
Teclilesium.
What's that for? And please don't say coronavirus.
Oh darn. Why else would someone be taking Teclilesium? Oh, the moon. Isn't it so romantic and... You can do it, and...
Temporary?
But for the time being, it's our moon. Shall we dance?
What?
You can only find the meaning of life after you dance a little.
Okay.
Did you see that?
What?
That poor couple. They were dancing in the street when they were hit by a speeding ice cream truck.
And dismembered. Gross.
I guess that proves it. Life is absurd. Wait, it's you.
Excuse me?
I've been searching every library in the city.
Do I know you?
It's me, Stephen King.
Oh, the broom.
Where have you been?
Here, there, everywhere.
When I couldn't find you, I traveled the world looking for the answer,
Two?
the meaning of life. Went to India, climbed a mountain, and met with a sadhu.
And did you find meaning?
No, what he said sounded like Bob Dylan lyrics. I knew that couldn't be right. So I flew to Tibet and sat under a tree with a lama.
And did you find meaning?
No, got struck by lightning, so I got a Shinto bell and rang it while spinning a prayer wheel while taking communion while fasting.
And did you find meaning?
No, then I took an ocean cruise, bought an Apple Watch, bungee jumped, watched people have sex in a jumbotron in Yankee Stadium, earned an MFA, and was impaled by the falling rod of God.
And did you find meaning?
No, but then I went to the library and I read all your books and short stories. And then I walked out into the night, looked up, and asked the universe, what does it all mean?
And?
Nothing. And then it occurred to me, you're right. It's all absurd. What do you think about that?
I think
Yes?
you're full of it.
But you're Kafka, right?
Yes?
You wrote that we're born covered with slime, spend our lives in futile and hopeless pursuit of unobtainable goals, and die without knowing why we're here in the first place.
Some of my stories had happy endings.
Some?
Okay, one.
Why would you write that unless you knew existence was absurd?
Simple. Bad childhood.
What?
Had an awful childhood. And to top it off, I was sick most of the time. Suffered from migraines, depression, anxiety, insomnia, and boils, which impacted my love life. Did you date someone with big chronic boils?
And that day you tried to jump.
Sorry. We all have bad days. You know, in the end, on my deathbed, I asked that all my writing be burned. Against my wishes, it wasn't.
Thankfully.
No, I knew the trouble it would cause. The universe is not absurd. The universe is simply unintelligible.
The difference?
To say it's unintelligible is to admit we don't see existence of nature either.
But what about things like viruses? They're absurd.
Our bodies may follow nature, but our intellect, if we use it to capacity, is an unintended mutation that can create things the universe never intended.
Like,
Beauty. Nature creates flowers to attract bees, but nature doesn't know what beauty is. We are awed at its power, but the universe doesn't know what awe or power is, nor does it understand other human creations like justice, kindness, or E equals MC squared. Why? Because nature doesn't understand its nature.
so how do we find meaning in an unintelligible universe?
Martha Stewart.
Excuse me?
What's Martha Stewart's most important ingredient?
Don't know. Profit?
No. Her most important ingredient is meaning. Leave that out and it's all just fast food. Add meaning and a meal becomes a Seder. Noodles become longevity. Wine, the blood of Christ. Dumplings, wealth. Chocolate, love.
I'm talking with friends about food preparation while wearing a cockroach outfit and the universe isn't absurd?
Don't get me wrong. We're still alone in a cold, dark universe.
Ah, okay, there's the cop that I want to hear.
Yes, it's utterly dark, and we weren't designed to deal with the dark. We're also not designed to walk upright. Now that we've done it, there's no going back, so we have to invent spinal fusions and C-sections. And we weren't designed to stand outside of nature. As James Joyce said, nature is quite unromantic. It's we who put romance into her, which is an egotism. But again, there's no going back. We must invent other egotisms, like leaps of faith and philosophy and purpose, as well as novels, poems, and dumb TV shows like Ballers. But here's the key.
Geez, here it comes.
What?
Formulaic answer. To quote you, no matter how good the writer, the most the protagonist achieves is a formulaic answer and resignation. So what's your simple formulaic answer? What? Humans need to be part of something bigger than themselves.
No, you don't need to be a part of something bigger. Life is single use, like Q-tips or straws and that stupid half spoon, half fork thing you get at KFC.
And the simple formulaic answer is what? Friendship?
A few friends are good, but too many people are just petty, untalented narcissists. You don't want to get caught up in their tiny world.
Should have seen it coming. Simple answer is love.
Sure, love's important. If I'd had a few more lovers to while away the hours, I never would have written half that crap I wrote. And that bullshit story about a man turning into a cockroach.
Monstrous vermin.
Whatever. Do you think that was written by a person with a healthy sex life?
I've got it. Standard answer. Art.
No, we have way too much art. We have enough paintings and plays and pottery to last 1,000 years. We don't need any more. What we don't have enough of is artists.
Hmm. You have too much art, but too few artists?
What do artists do? They take the raw flowing footage of nature and translate it into terms they can make sense of. Like a dancer's leap, they momentarily transcend nature's grasp and create meaning and happiness and perhaps even hope. We need to teach people to be their own artists. And yet, look at what we do with arts programs. Rip them from our schools and universities like weeds from our gardens. Don't get me wrong, STEM classes are fine. But let's say one day all these STEM majors finally find an all encompassing grand unified theory that links all the aspects of the universe. Do you know what the universe will be on that day?
What?
Still unintelligible and indifferent to our antics. From the first morning of its creation to the moment it all supernovas, nature and the universe will always be a stranger. The massive trumpets of the universe are blasting the news. None of it has any meaning. So let's pretend not to hear it by creating our own tiny speck of meaning each day, each hour. To ask the universe the meaning of life is the only true absurdity, for you should never ask strangers the meaning of life. Instead, be an artist, for artists improve the small plot of earth you've been given by sprinkling it with meaning.
Yeah?
Ah, we are looking for that something that is indestructible, when in fact the dancer, no matter how talented, can only momentarily transcend gravity. In the end, nature will always defeat art.
Thank you, Franz Kafka.
No, thank Martha Stewart. Just don't let her use your toilet.
Ah, stranger approaches.
Let's protect ourselves by creating our own unique, positive, amusing, flexible meaning so we can enjoy the art of living. Ah, there, the nebulous, transcendental it.
I'm flying high, but I've got a feeling I'm falling, falling for nobody else but you. You caught my eye, and I've got a feeling I'm falling. Show me the ring and I'll jump right through. I used to travel single, oh, we chance to mingle, oh, now I'm a tingle over you. Hey, Mr. Paulson, stand by, for I got a feeling I'm falling, falling for nobody else but